Today we're comparing the Ulanzi LM19 and the M10 to determine which one is better for content creators who travel. And be sure to stick around to the end because I'm going to teach you a really cool hack that'll let you use both of these together where normally you can't. I perform on cruise ships, and cruise ship cabins aren't exactly known for great video lighting for videos, selfies, or virtual meetings. So I brought two tiny Ulanzi phone lights with me. They're both magnetic, they're both made for travel, but they're completely different. Let's see which one I'd actually pack for my next cruise. Right away, you can see the biggest difference. The LM19 is basically a tiny folding ring light, while the M10 uses this flexible neck. So instead of flipping the light into position, you bend it pretty much wherever you want. And I actually really like that idea because you're not necessarily forced to have the light directly above the camera. You can move it off to the side, raise it, lower it, or even point it completely away from you. Since I'm traveling, size and weight matter. Neither one of these is big. The LM19 weighs about 62 grams, while the M10 is even lighter at 48 grams. Realistically, either one of these is small enough that I wouldn't hesitate to throw it in my bag or even into my pocket. But the M10 definitely feels a little bit lighter. Both attach magnetically. Here's the LM19 and here's the M10. If you have a MagSafe compatible phone or case, setup literally takes a couple of seconds. If you don't already have MagSafe, each one of these comes with a stick-on ring that you can pretty much turn anything into a MagSafe connector. But the most important question is, how do the lights actually look? I'm going to keep my phone in the exact same place and use the same camera settings for both. First, let's just look at the lighting here in the cabin with no additional light. Not exactly flattering. And this is the Ulanzi LM19. And now this is the Ulanzi M10. I'll put both back to back a couple of times so you can judge for yourself. This is me trying to film myself in a very dark room with a little bit of light behind me. First, let's turn on the M10 to see if this makes a difference. And that is the M10, and that blew me away. Like this, you couldn't see me at all. This room's almost completely dark. I have the curtains closed tightly, and yet this lights up my whole body, not just my face. So it does an amazing job. So we're back to super darkness with a little bit of light behind me. Now we're going to turn on the LM19. And there you go. You can see that that does light me up as well. And it's a totally different shade. If we go through the shades, you can see that actually looks a little bit better. It's cool that both of these are very adjustable to the color. That is a little too much amber, too much cold light, and a little mix right there. I think that feels great. Notice that this also lights up my face as well as my hands and everything that's in the view of the camera. Here's another situation I run to all the time when traveling, especially on cruise ships or even in hotels. The overhead lights are on, but they create some ugly shadows. So let's look at the shadows under my eyes, and then we're going to add the LM19 and now the M10. This is probably closer to how most people would actually use one of these, not necessarily in complete darkness, but to improve bad existing lighting. And here's an even tougher test. This is me filming myself with a very bright background. This is the balcony of the ship and no lights on at all. So you can see my face is dark, but behind me is really bright. So let's turn on the Ulanzi M10 first. And as you can see, it does light up my face just enough so that the background doesn't overwhelm the face and you can still see my face and the background at the same time. This is the M10 set on the whitest light, and now we're going to cycle through to see the difference. If we were going to change the tone, it's on the brightest setting already. And that is a very amber, very amber. There's a sort of a mix. That's a little bit whiter, and that's full white light. Now we'll turn on the Ulanzi LM19 to see the difference. And once again, I have this on the brightest, like the whitest white of lights. And I think this does a really good job. It really brightens up the picture. Now let's function through the different modes here. Now that is a more amber mixed with the white light. And that is just all amber right there. Both lights also give you color temperature options. The LM19 has the much wider range. It goes from a really warm 2500 Kelvin all the way up to a very cool 8500 Kelvin. So you have a lot of flexibility if you're trying to match the lighting around you. The M10 gives you 5 color temperature settings ranging from 2500 to 4500 Kelvin. So you don't get the really cool temperatures that you get with the LM19, but you still have plenty of choices for most normal situations. There are also a couple of things that each one of these can do that the other one can't. The LM19 can actually work as a little phone stand. That could be really handy in a cabin if you're watching something or making a FaceTime call or filming yourself without bringing another stand. I did find, however, that the M10 can also be used as a bit of a phone stand. You just bend it and place the light part flat on the table, and it works pretty well as a stand. The M10 does have a unique feature, and that's that it has a dedicated warm reading mode with very limited blue light. So if I'm in bed and I want to read without turning on all the cabin lights or without waking up my wife, I can bend this down and use it almost like a tiny little reading lamp. I did find, however, that the reading level is pretty bright. As you can see, it lights up my entire head. And because the light can move independently from the phone, you can use it to illuminate things other than your face. Battery life is a difference worth mentioning. Both use a 400 milliamp hour battery. Ulanzi rates the LM19 for about an hour and a half at maximum brightness. The M10 is rated closer to 50 minutes at maximum brightness. So if you're planning on using one of these for longer filming sessions, the LM19 has an advantage on paper. For quick videos, selfies, or calls, either one should be plenty. Here's a really cool little tip that I figured out if you'd like to have more than one light. So if you have one of these and one of these, here's a way that you can use both of them. Most of the time, let's say you have a tripod like this, your phone is going to stick on one side like that, and then on the other side, you can put your light like that. So right now there's no room to put a second light if you wanted to have two, but here's where the hack comes in. Both of these lights include extra stick-on magnetic rings. So all you have to do, now you can't do it with this one first, you have to use this one first because the back here is completely flat. So I'll show you what I mean. If I take this and stick this on to here, now I can remove this one, I can stick this light here at an angle, and I can put this light coming from the bottom or at another angle. It would look something like this, or I could have this one coming up from the bottom, so you have light coming from every direction. That's what I'm going to do with these two, and I think that that's going to be so awesome. I've gone ahead and stuck it on the back. I cleaned this very thoroughly with an alcohol swab first and let it dry, and then I pressed this on so that it would stick. So let me show you exactly how this setup would look. Here's my little tiny tripod, but the back of this is also magnetic, allowing me to put my light like this on the tripod. And now that we've added that ring, we can easily attach our second light. Now, if you want this to come from the side, you can do that. But if you want it to come up the middle, which is ideally what I would do, now I can click this here, and now they're both on there. And now I have a light coming from the top and from the bottom, which is amazing. Even if you're not using a tripod, you can use both of these together if you use my little trick. So now you can just stick those both onto the back of your phone. This works in selfie mode. I can't figure out how to get it to work the other way. I could twist this around, that'll work, but this one gets stuck. You still might have more light than you would otherwise, but it works a lot better in selfie mode. My final thoughts are that both of these are fantastic products, and which one you should choose depends on how you want to use it. If you're going to be using this just on your phone, this one is easy. It's super compact, easy to toss into your pocket. You can use this on the front-facing cam as well as on the selfie just by flipping it up. This one is a little bit more flexible, pun intended. It's very flexible. You can bend it into almost any shape and it'll stay that shape. A little tip here is if you're going to twist it all the way around, make sure when you twist it back, you twist it the exact same direction, because I'm assuming if you keep twisting over and over again, you're going to break the wires that are inside. If you're going to be using a light on an iPad, I would definitely go this route. This works on the iPad when you're holding it horizontally, but even then, the light only comes up about this much. This one works either way, so you can have it horizontal or vertical, and the light will reach above the iPad if it's an iPad mini. That's the one I had in the demo. And if you want to use this as a reading light, it's fantastic. But ideally, I think it's cool to have both. And I figured out that little hack where I put the extra band right here. So now I can stick these together and then stick this on the back of my phone or a tripod and use both lights. So I think they're both great, and I would definitely recommend both. If you'd like to grab either one of these MagSafe lights, there's a link in the description below. Please do me a favor, hit like on that video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.